2010 season of Australia's Next Top Model was coming to a close, and it was time to announce the winner. The two remaining contestants, Kelsey and Amanda, stood on stage in front of an audience of over 2,000 people. It was also being broadcast live to hundreds of thousands of television sets across Australia. The host, Sarah Murdoch, was going to forego the tradition of reading the results from a card and instead chose to use an earpiece. Murdoch waited for the results from the producer. When she didn't get an answer, she decided to go with the last thing that she heard through her earpiece. She announced that Kelsey was the winner. An overjoyed Kelsey started to thank all of the people who helped her on her journey as Amanda just awkwardly hung around waiting to be given direction. After about 45 seconds of celebration, Murdoch was then told via cue card that Amanda was in fact the winner. Apparently, her earpiece had lost communication with the show's producers, and the last thing she heard was Kelsey 1, Amanda 2. Murdoch stood in disbelief over the whole ordeal and tried to hide her face behind her hand. With the now dead silent crowd, Murdoch eventually announced that Amanda was indeed the winner. After the initial shock wore off, both women graciously accepted the results and hugged one another on stage. Murdoch, still apologizing about the gaffe, tugged at the waistline of Kelsey in hopes of comforting her. After the show, Kelsey was awarded $25,000 as an apology for the mistake. You really need to be careful what you do on live TV. You never know when the camera is being pointed at you. BBC weatherman Tomas Schaffernacker learned that the hard way. In 2010, his co-anchor Simon McCoy was about to segue into the weather report. Before doing so, Simon dished out a little lighthearted banter towards Schaffernacker. He joked that the weather report would be 100% accurate and would provide all the detail that one could possibly want. The camera quickly cut over to Schaffernacker, who did not realize that he was being broadcast live. He was clearly seen raising his middle finger to McCoy in a well-understood gesture. Upon realizing his mistake, he pulled his hand back to awkwardly cover his mouth. During that split second, he jerked his hand around his face, not knowing what to do. The camera then returned back to McCoy, where he stated, "Every now and then there's always one mistake." That was it. And then he casually went on into the next story. A BBC spokesperson said that the corporation received several complaints. She stated that Tomas was not aware that he was on air, and whilst the gesture was only shown for a second, it was not acceptable. In the coming weeks, the station would experience what they described as labor cuts. Not surprisingly, Schaffernacker was one of the people who were laid off. This was arguably the most epic nip slip of all time. Janet Jackson was the chosen artist for the 2004 Super Bowl halftime show. Millions of people across America tuned in and watched the performance live on TV. At the end of one of Jackson's medley of hits, pop star Justin Timberlake popped up through the floor and began singing his song entitled "Rock Your Body." The duet paraded across the stage while at the same time acting out sexually suggestive dance moves. As Timberlake sang his final line, "Gonna get you naked by the end of this song," he reached across Jackson's bosom and pulled off a part of her costume. Unfortunately, he exposed her right breast that was partially covered by a metal nipple shield. The camera quickly panned to the crowded stadium, but not quick enough. 140 million people saw the bare breast for about half a second, and a lot of them were furious. The FCC received nearly 540,000 complaints from viewers of the halftime show. The event also led to much media controversy and headlines in which it was sometimes referred to as Nipplegate. Jackson's representative explained the incident, saying Justin was only supposed to pull away the rubber bustier to reveal a red lace bra. The garment collapsed and her breast was accidentally revealed. Because of this wardrobe malfunction, the FCC has cracked down on incidents of indecent exposure on TV, increasing fines from $27,000 to $325,000. Jackson's nip slip also led to the widespread use of 5-second delays on most